Hey, what's up, guys? Koolaid here. Welcome to another episode of Killing Time with Koolaid. And like I previously mentioned, we're going to do one full episode dedicated to mail questions, mainly just to knock out a bunch of these old ones. I have ones dating back to the 12th of October, mostly due to my little break. So we're going to jump right into this, get started, try to knock out as many questions as we can. The footage you're going to be watching is basically extended footage from the harasser stuff I uploaded for the last episode of Mailbag. Again, I don't have a ton or an abundance of footage saved up yet on my new PC, so you're gonna get more harasser gameplay. So anyways, let's jump right into this. We'll start with Terrapin Turtle. He's got a few questions, a few good ones. What is the one thing you would add to the game, and what one thing would you remove from the game if you were given the choice? This is kind of hard because there's so many different things I could think of to add to the game, but one thing, I'm going to go a little bit extreme here. One thing that I think would be really cool is to add some sort of sky carrier that could actually transport vehicles, and you could drop vehicles similar to you drop infantry in a galaxy. Now, this would be really hard to balance probably, and you'd have to do something where I don't know, it'd be extremely hard to balance, and you'd probably even maybe have to come up with a new resource that gains really slow, so you could only use these like once every few hours or something. Basically, you know, it'd be hard to balance it, but I think that would be really cool if they figured out a way to do that. That's one thing I would add, I guess. One thing I would take out of the game, and there's so many things I could do here too as well, but one thing I really think would be cool is if you could remove lock-on rocket launchers. I've said this many times, I'm not a fan of lock-on launchers, but you'd have to replace them with something, obviously, or else air would just run crazy all over the place. What I would like to see them replaced with is kind of a portable flat cannon, something like that, something that takes a little bit more skill to use than a lock-on launcher. I'm just not a fan of lock-on launchers in any game. One more question from Terrapin Turtle. Do you think that PS4 should require a mouse and keyboard input to play Planetside 2, therefore allowing it to share servers with the PC? I don't know if PS4 has a mouse and keyboard input. I don't really care too much about the PS4, honestly, but I think it would be great if they had one and had the option to play, you know, our PS4 users had the option to play with PC users. I think that would add to the PC version, you know, because it would fill our servers back up. But I wouldn't want to force PS4 users to have to play with a mouse and keyboard or have to play with PC users. A lot of console players specifically play console because they do not like using a mouse and keyboard, even though I think it's superior. A lot of people just don't like it. So I wouldn't want to force them to do it. I think the option would be awesome, though. Alright, so moving on, Fred Williamson wants to know, do you have any favorite YouTubers that you watch or ones that perhaps inspired you to make YouTube videos? I honestly don't watch a lot of gaming videos. I watch the PS2 guys you know about. I watch Force SC2 Strategy. He's always up to date on all the new games coming out. That's why I love his channel. And Sergeant Merrill has a really good channel as well. And well, part of the reason I really like his channel is because he likes talking about real weapons as well. And mainly when I watch YouTube videos, it's more for real life guns than video games. I'm really into guns in real life. I have a small little collection, you could say. I like to shoot, so I typically watch more real life weapon videos than anything else. And some of the favorite ones that I like to watch are Hickok 45, Iraq Veteran 888, and Tennessee Outdoors, who does crazy ammo testing. Yeah, so I don't watch a ton of gaming videos. I do like watching more real life type videos than anything else. Next, Jesse Stanley wants to know if and when the Stalker cloak comes out for the Infiltrator class. He has Christmas 2020 in parentheses. What pistol do you think will go best with that cloak? Now, I plan on doing some videos on this once the Stalker cloak actually comes out, or at least once it gets closer to coming out. But right off the top of my head, the Commissioner is going to be one of the best choices because of the one-shot knife combo. And if Nanoweave gets nerfed and a lot of people start saying that Nanoweave's not the best option anymore, that's just going to make the Commissioner that much better because you're not going to have to worry about even going for headshots at that point. Personally, I think I'm going to be using the Desperado a lot. It's just my favorite pistol right now. And you don't have to be quite as accurate with that as you do with the Commissioner, and you can suppress it, which is the big thing. So I'm going to do more extensive testing on this once it gets closer or once it does come out. But for now, I mean, the Commissioner is easily going to be one of the best choices. That's one thing I can tell you guys for sure. Next, Mr. Ripboard has a couple good questions about platoon management. Now, I'm not the best guy to ask this since I am usually not on during peak hours during our, platoon or outfit operations, but I will do my best to kind of let you know how we do things. Number one, he wants to know, how do you think is the most ideal way of managing comms in a platoon? And I'll tell you exactly what we do. We use Mumble. If you're in our outfit, you are required to get Mumble. Even if you can't talk, you're required to listen. So we run all of our chat through Mumble in one way or another. If we have a full platoon, sometimes we will split up into separate squads in Mumble, and then we will have our platoon leader as well as our squad leaders have the ability to shout and talk to everybody, over Mumble, even though they're split up in those squads. That just limits some of the chatter because we're not super serious about making everybody just stop talking the entire time. We're not really like that. Now, if we are opening our outfit or opening our platoon to public players, which we do quite frequently, we then will use platoon chat to give orders or give commands to the public players. And because we're not going to require public players to jump in Mumble, even though we will ask them to from time to time. So that is really the only time we always use platoon chat. Other than that, we simply use Mumble. Number two, he wants to know, do you believe in more squad leader autonomy or a platoon leader micromanaging the squads and squad leaders used as advisors on what's happening and why? We usually have, I'd say 50% of the time or more, we have one guy, our main guy, our leader of our outfit running platoon, and he will micromanage everything. He will set up the squads, and more often than not, that requires him to take time out of his actual playing to do anything. But we always take advice from squad leaders. We always take advice from anybody really that's on Mumble, as long as they know what they're talking about. If you're just shouting out random stuff, go here, go there, we'll probably tell you to shut up. But we'll take advice from anybody. We're not elitists, and we don't think we have the best answers all the time. But more often than not, we just rely on our platoon leader to tell us where to go, and we'll follow where, because he's pretty knowledgeable about the game, and we trust in him to take us where we want to go. Next, Zero Connor wants to know, what are your thoughts on different minimap and or HUD indicators for max units as well as other infantry? This is something that I've been saying for a while, is that maxes should show up differently than the normal red dot that all other infantry show up as. Simply because they're just so much different in the way you have to handle them, especially for an infiltrator. If I'm infiltrating, I have my recon detect device going, and I round the corner thinking there's 5 infantry there, and there's a max there, then I basically have to retreat, and there's nothing I can do as a class that doesn't have any real means of taking out a max. I think at the very least we should have the ability to avoid them a little bit easier. As far as other classes, other infantry, I don't think they need to show up any differently. Max is the only real special case. Next, Wolfhound Snake wants to know, in real life, based on their ideals, what would you join, the TR, NC, VS, or NS? Well, I'd probably join the NC, and I'm not going to go into depth on this, but I kind of liken the NC to the Rebels in Star Wars a little bit. Everybody looks at them a little bit differently. I kind of look at TR as the evil empire, and I kind of look at VS as, I don't really have too much of an opinion on VS. They're just kind of there, and they're wearing purple. So I would just go with the NC. It's not the complete reason why I picked them as a faction. I think I've talked about that before, but definitely a little bit had to do with that. So I'm just going to go with NC and leave it at that. He also wants to know, that, well, first he says a lot of his outfit mates and a lot of his friends that he played PS2 with have left. He says it sort of breaks my heart to know that they left. Has this happened to you? And of course it has. When you play any game, especially for this long, you're gonna meet a lot of people, and a lot of people are gonna leave. In fact, when I started playing this game, I started with an old clan that I was in called Knob, and everybody from that clan that started with me, and there was only like 10 of us maybe, every single person aside from STL Youngblood from that clan has since quit. They actually quit about a month after the game came out. That's how I ended up joining Planet Express Crew. That's how I got to where I am today. But, you know, it sucked when they all quit. Since then, I've met tons of new people again that a lot of them have quit as well. But it just happens with every game. It sucks, but it's just that's MMO gaming. So moving on, and I'm probably not going to get through nearly as many questions as I thought I was going to. I always think I could do one of these episodes, one of these mailbag only episodes, and think I can get through like 20 questions. I end up getting through like 10 and just taking too long on each one. But that just means we're going to have to do another one of these episodes, which is fine because I actually enjoy doing these and they don't take me very long at all. So anyways, Kale Liquidator wants to know, do you use a suppressor on your submachine gun while playing light assault? The answer is yes. Basically, anytime I pull out a submachine gun, it's going to have a suppressor on it. It's such a short range weapon, you're not going to see the downsides that a suppressor is going to give your weapon. So yes, there's really no reason not to. Michael Fritz wants to know, what's your favorite flavor of Kool-Aid? Have I already answered this? I think I might have. Whatever, we'll answer it again. To be honest with you, my favorite flavor is grape. But to be honest with you, I don't really drink Kool-Aid anymore. Kool-Aid is like diabetes in a cup. It's like 1 cup of sugar for every half cup of water or something ridiculous. So I don't really drink Kool-Aid anymore. I drink a lot of Kool-Aid wannabes that are a lot more healthy for you. I don't know if they're necessarily healthy, but they're a lot better than drinking the massive amounts of sugar that comes with normal Kool-Aid. Next, Blue Moon 8x8 wants to know, hey Kool-Aid, I'm curious to know, what is your favorite weapon of all time, Planetside 2 and why? And he goes on to say, not your best or most effective, but favorite. I actually think the Jaguar is one of my favorite weapons in the game. I don't get to use it very often because I do not play TR very often, and if I do play TR, it's either usually a max or an infiltrator. But I like the Jaguar a lot because it is a carbine, it is an extremely high rate of fire, and it holds 40 rounds per mag. That's all things that I like in a weapon. As far as my other favorite weapon that I do use a lot, the Blitz is easily one of my favorites, and I would say I'm pretty effective with that gun. One more that I want to throw in here is the Phoenix. I think the Phoenix is one of the funnest weapons in the game to use. However, I don't kill anything with it. It just constantly gets me assists or nothing. Assists or nothing. I rarely get kills with the Phoenix, but it is incredibly fun to use. Simon Lord wants to know if I will make a loadout video for Light Assault and if I will continue to make other loadout videos for other classes. Yes, I plan on it, but the problem with loadout videos is some of the classes that I use, like Light Assault, I use the same loadout pretty much all the time, and my loadout that I use for the Light Assault is pretty much identical to the loadout that everybody else uses. There's not a lot of variance in it, and if I made a loadout video, which I could, it would just be pretty boring. It would be pretty standard stuff, and that's how it works for a lot of the classes. That's why I don't do as many loadout videos as you might think I would. I mean, they're real easy videos for me to do. I can do them real quickly. I like to do them, but a lot of my loadouts are just really standard stuff, and I don't want to make an incredibly boring video that has no variance when you compare it to the standard loadouts that everybody else is using. And that's the only reason I don't do them more often. Alright, so for our final question, and this will take us through all of October questions. We're just now getting to November questions. Land456 wants to know if I think the smoke launcher rail attachment is beneficial. He has a little bit more here about smoke launchers, which I can't answer because I do not really use smoke launchers, but one thing I will say is that our outfit does use a smoke launcher assault, combination of smoke launchers with night vision optics, and it works incredibly well. We don't use this all the time, certain circumstances call for it, but it is an incredibly useful thing to use, and you can really take over bases using this strategy. So there's definitely some benefit to using a smoke launcher in the right situation. That is the last question I'm going to do for today. I did skip over a few just because I didn't know the answers to them, or they were kind of goofy questions. But we are getting low on questions now. That couple week layoff I took without doing any killing times, nobody really sent me any questions. So if you do have a mailbag question you want me to answer, make sure you send it to me on YouTube via private message. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Gave up.
Yeah, there's.
Oh god, there's a guy right there.
Biolab alerts when we're.
Did you see him? He's shielded and just stood there. He's like, what? A rocket? I'm a shield and hold still.